Hello. Welcome to the Invention Convention video judging. Thank you again for donating your time today. My name is Veronica Lina, and I have the pleasure and honor of being the Invention League's program director. Now, most of you probably know what the Invention Convention is, which is why you've donated your time today. But to give you a brief overview, the Invention Convention has been around for 23 years. The goal of the Invention Convention program, which is a program of the Invention League organization, is to further inventing and entrepreneurship education, specifically in Ohio. It's a K-8 nonprofit program that brings STEAM, you heard me, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math curriculum to students all throughout the state of Ohio, completely for free. The reason that we're able to offer this curriculum to students and school districts for free is because we have very generous donors. So if you're one of those donors, thank you for donating not only your time, but also your resources. We also have wonderful corporate partners who have been around and helped us for years. So to those corporate partners who are donating their time, money, and energy to the Invention Convention program and the Invention League organization, thank you. We could not do it without you. So what I'm going to do over the next 10 minutes is I'm going to tell you a little bit about the logistics of how this video judging is going to take place, as well as give you some feedback on our rubric and what to expect. That way you can do an even better job of evaluating our students and giving them constructive feedback to help them move on to the next round. Now, you may have known that you were asked to be a judge today, but what you're really being asked is to actually be a student mentor. The most important thing that you're going to do through this video process is to leave comments for our students. And one of the huge reasons that we switched to a regional video judging is because we wanted these students to be able to get constructive feedback, positive feedback, and to be able to apply that feedback. So think of this as a wonderful mentorship opportunity, and hopefully you'll have some fun with it. Well, we know you're going to have some fun with it. So the logistics, the specifics of them, you're going to log into your judge registration, and you're going to see that you have been assigned students. Each of those students has already filled out their name, their grade, as well as the name of their invention. They've also uploaded a 4-minute video pitch. So you'll watch the video, and then you'll score the rubric and leave your comments. Now, you heard me talk about the importance of these comments. If I could ask you to please be as robust as possible on these comments. Each student shouldn't take you total more than 10 minutes between the 4-minute video pitch and the 6-minute rubric and evaluation. But if you're able to give them constructive feedback about what they could do better, please be specific, as well as encourage them and tell them what they did really well. Now, one thing that you may not know about the Invention Convention program is that we don't talk about science, technology, engineering, or math at all. We tell these students at the Invention League that problem solving is their superpower. We tell them that they need to activate their super skills. And those super skills or superpower skills include being using perseverance and hard work, being inquisitive, using their creativity and their imagination. And this is very intentional that our curriculum doesn't talk about the specifics of STEAM. But what we want you to do is to connect the dots. So if they've done a wonderful job of collecting data, tell them that that's a scientific trait, that that's something that makes a good scientist. If their math is wonderful, tell them that they're a mathematician. If they look like their design process has gone through many tests, tell them that's the makings of an engineer, an architect. Just build their confidence wherever possible, because our goal is to keep these kids in the STEAM funnel so that they have the confidence to go on to the next program and the next program and the next program. And hopefully, eventually, they'll be our innovators of tomorrow in our workplace. So the rubric, let's talk a little bit about the rubric. If you've had a moment to look at the rubric, wonderful, keep going. If you haven't, go ahead and pause my video and go into the judging system and look at the rubric now. You'll see the main areas include process, results, impact, and communication. Now, please note, you are not just evaluating these students on their prototype. There are many programs out there like that. We are actually evaluating a student on their process of thinking. We are looking for the fact that they went through an ideation process. We call that problem seeking. We want to see that they did thorough research to really identify who has that problem. We want to see that they've gone through some problem solving and critical thinking skills have been applied. We want them to think about what are the right materials? How could I design this differently? And then, of course, we're looking for some entrepreneurship. Kids that are 4th grade and above, they've gone through the opportunity to think about, who could I advertise this to? How much might it cost if I manufactured it? Who is my niche audience? Who am I really targeting? So the first step process, it really is it's based a lot around the problem. Has this student effectively identified the problem that they're trying to solve? Have they researched it? Can they speak to who else has this problem? How large is this problem? As well as the solution that they come up with. Will it solve the problem that they're actually speaking about? In the results area, we're looking again for them to do that full 360. For them to say, well, but for my invention, this problem would still exist. Or this is why my solution is better than all these other options that are out there. When they speak about their design, you're looking for whether or not it's useful, relevant, and operational. Operational is actually optional, and you'll see that on the rubric. Let me clarify this. If a student has an opportunity to make an invention operational, they should do that. However, many times our students do not have access to the tools to be able to make their prototype operational, but that doesn't make their prototype or their idea any less convincing. So a perfect example of this is our 1995, yes, I know I'm going way back, Edison winner. Her name is Sarah Jones. Now, Sarah Jones had a problem that we all have, which is, I'm not exactly sure if the food in the fridge is okay to eat, if this fruit or vegetables or even leftovers have turned. So she looked up what went bad in a fruit or a vegetable or a leftover and learned that there was a specific gas that was emitted. She could tell you more about the chemistry of when that gas was emitted and that there's actually a plastic out there that can have a reaction with that gas. And so she created a prototype of a plate of moldy food, and on top of it was a piece of saran wrap that she had painted green. So the gas had changed the saran wrap from clear to green because the food had gone bad. Now, of course, this was not an operational prototype. It was just a piece of moldy food with a piece of green saran wrap on top. But Sarah could tell you all the details of the science behind how she could build that prototype if she had access to the right tools. That was a 10 out of 10. And she ended up being our Edison Award winner in 1995 in the entire state of Ohio. So that's what I mean when I say it doesn't have to be operational, that's optional, but the student has to be able to back up the functionality of their invention. Now, originality is another tricky one. We want original inventions. We want original ideas. And sometimes you're going to look at an idea and you're going to say, that is outstanding. I can't believe no one's thought of that. However, sometimes you're going to look at an idea and you're going to say, I swear we have something like that out there. And what I will tell you with originality is that you need to forget all of the prior knowledge that you have walking into the invention convention. All of us come from a different place, so we all have a different knowledge base. You need to listen to the student and ask them about their research that they have done to determine whether or not their invention is original. And you need to take that research at face value. Now, if a student has not done any research on originality, or if the only thing they have done is a search at the USPTO office, then that would be no higher than a 3 on your 1 out of 10 rubric. You are looking for students to be able to tell you, yes, there are 2 or 3 other things on the market. Let me tell you why mine's different. Or I've searched websites and stores and talked to subject matter experts. I've gone to 10 different websites. I can't find anything out there like my invention. Let me tell you why it's original. If a student cannot tell you why it's original at all, then you need to give them a 1 for originality. When we look at impact, this is a very developed skill. Some students will talk about the global impact that their invention will have on others. They'll understand the audience, which is both the user of the invention as well as the other folks that can benefit from it. They might tell you that the student or a child is the user, but every adult in their life, teachers, parents, grandparents, would benefit. STEM students will be able to talk to you about the industry that their invention can affect. They are all asked this within their workbook. They're all asked, which industry does your invention best fit? And the best inventors that see opportunities everywhere, they'll have a hard time telling you. They'll tell you, well, my invention could fit in 3 or 4 different industries. I couldn't decide if it was safety or transportation, household or organization. So you'll look for some of those words. Please do not expect your inventor to use words like user or benefactor. But they may say, well, my parents would use this, but I could use it too. They're thinking about people outside of themselves that may be impacted by their invention. And then the last overall effect, I will tell you it's rare, especially in our younger inventors, for a student to really have an impact, or excuse me, an understanding of the overall effect of their invention. However, if they understand it, it's easy to give them a 9 or a 10. So let me give you an example. Dominic Kucera was a 6th grader from Parma City Schools about 4 years ago. And Dominic's invention was a prescription bottle that actually had a locked top that you actually had to put a combination lock in to get the prescription out, similar to a locker and a combination lock on a locker. The problem he was solving was that he had seen on a news article that there were 57,000 students ages 3 through 15 who actually were hospitalized due to drug overdoses. And after further research, he learned it wasn't because kids thought this was candy. Kids could actually unlock the bottle and take out just a few pills, and they were using the prescriptions inappropriately. 57,000 kids. So Dominic said, well, we need to do something about that. This isn't medicine being stolen, this is medicine being siphoned off. So he created the lock top for prescription drugs. Well, when Dominic gave his pitch, he told you, but for an invention like mine, right, you're still going to have 57,000, maybe even more kids going to the hospital each year. Some of them are going to lose their lives over this. He said, but if every person used the lock top prescription bottle, 57,000 kids would not go to the hospital. Hospitals would save money. Families would not be distraught over this trauma. Kids would save their lives, on and on and on. Dominic understood the overall effect. That answer is absolutely a 10 out of 10. He referred back to the original problem, the amount of people that it affected, and how his invention could change all of that. It's pretty impressive, and it's really powerful to hear a student talk about that. And then lastly is communication. I will tell you that these students have had their video requirements for quite some time, and one of the video requirements is that they are not allowed to edit their video, nor are they allowed to stop and start their video. It needs to be done by practicing it, and they need to be clear, complete, and effective in their pitch. Don't underestimate them. Many of them will have polished and practiced videos. You'll think that you're watching a TV commercial. So you should have high expectations there. And if at any time that you feel that a student has edited or stopped and started their video, please let us know at info@inventionleague.org. So, you know, and if it's very clear that you don't even have any questions, then you would need to give that student a 1. The second aspect under communication is a clear, complete, and effective journal. And for the purposes of our video training, we're going to give every student a 10. It's going to be very difficult for a student to show you their journal via a video. So this aspect of the rubric is actually much more in line with their in-person evaluation at the Ohio State Fair. So it's okay if you forget. We're going to go in and make sure that every one of those students has a 10. But if you put a 10, it saves us some time. And then lastly, make sure that the student shows you their prototype and that they utilize and they display it. If a student does not show you a prototype at all, you need to give them a 1. If they don't use the prototype in their presentation and they don't display it for you or show you how it might work or how it was built, then they should not get more than a 3. An effective communication would display the prototype. It would talk to you about how that design was created and changed. And some students will actually create a display aid for you, kind of like those science Elmer's boards. And they may walk you through, how they came up with their problem and have pictures of their process. That is not required, but if it helps them tell their story, by all means, it can up their score. I know this is difficult. It's very, very hard to differentiate a 10 from an 8 and an 8 to a 6, and that's why you are so important to us. So thank you again for donating your time, and if you have any questions at all, feel free to email me directly. It's veronica@inventionleague.org, and know that you are really investing in our future by evaluating these kids and telling them what they're good at and what they could use work on, and just thank you for mentoring them, and have a wonderful day.